Do you stockpile for emergencies? Are you what's called a prepper? Supermarket shelves are empty across Portugal and Spain as residents and tourists have been stockpiling essentials amid these nationwide blackouts. And we'd like to know, are you ready for an emergency? Are you getting ready for doomsday, prepping, equipped for any crisis? Or do you think stockpiling huge amounts of cash, water and food is a complete waste of time and money? 0207 862 2222. That's the number. Do give us a ring. So here I have the emergency stocks that we're supposed to get in if we're going to prepare. So we've got the water here. We've got the, what is that? Oh, batteries and a torch and that kind of thing here. We've got a first aid kit, which we should jolly well have anyway, shouldn't we, really? Yeah. We've got some cans of things like chickpeas. I think I've still got mine left over from lockdown, which I never use. I got thousands of them and never could ever bring myself to actually eat any of them. Lentils, also ghastly, probably also left over from
So it's your bug out bag. They call it a bug out bag.
We've got cash here because, of course, in Spain and Portugal yesterday, absolutely nobody could access any cash machines and nobody could use any credit cards. So if you didn't have actual money, you were in really severe trouble. I mean, I don't have any of that. Do you? No?
I'm not. I don't like this whole cash-free society, so I've always got a bit of cash.
And we've got batteries here because it's been suggested you need a wind-up FM radio. Yeah. Because think about it, you've got no telly, you've got no actual radio, you've got no phone signal.
Phone. No.
Nobody can tell you anything, so you don't know what the hell's going on or when it's going to end or anything like that. But we know something about you, Cristo. We know that you are a prepper.
Yeah, I am. I get really worried and anxious. Well, firstly, I will say, Vanessa, you're not going to get very far with just that amount of water. You're really going to have to sip it.
Yes.
Because that's not really enough. But
so tell me what you've really got back at your house.
In my basement. So the house I bought was, the basement was actually the bomb shelter for the whole road. So down in my basement, I've got bottles of water, tins, tuna, things like chickpeas, tomatoes, all things like that. Dog food down there as well for the girls. Also, I have a bit of cash, not as much as I should, because the other thing I have is gold.
Yeah.
Gold?
Yeah. I've got gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
What, in case of an emergency?
Yes, because
gold bars, gold bullion?
No, coins.
Sound like a couple of pirates, you two. pieces of eight. You've actually got gold?
Yes, because during an apocalypse or anything or a war like that, cash is going to become pointless. Things like that are going to be much more... gold is going to be the thing that is of value if you want to sort of get somewhere, bribe someone, do something like that. Also, I really rarely allow the petrol in the car to go down under 3/4 of a tank. Always make sure that goes up to the top. My partner thinks I'm absolutely
He's got a parachute on his back.
In an apocalypse, heaven forbid, where are you going to drive to? Where do you think you're going to go to?
Well, hopefully my family, unless they come to me. But yeah, my family. The thing I've got as well, it keeps expiring in my Amazon basket because it's quite expensive, is
generator.
Solar-powered plugs, solar-powered plug sockets. Yeah. But the ones that I found were like about £700 or £800, so they're not cheap. But yeah, you just lay out the solar mat and then you can charge your devices.
And have you got the wind-up radio FM thing that they were talking about?
Do you know what? No, I don't.
Because
apparently that's probably the thing I did. I wouldn't know when the apocalypse was over.
Exactly. It's going to be the only way that you can actually hear what's going on. I can't believe you really do this. I can't believe you just went,
Yeah, we've got a big tank outside that collects rainwater, so I've got a huge store of fresh water. Well, it's not fresh, but I mean, you can clean it. You can drop in little tablets in there.
What else have you got?
I've got loads of cans, loads and loads of cans of stuff. I've got dried pasta. We've got like the wood burner, if you think about it. Yeah. That's ready and raring to go in case you've got to either keep warm or cook things. We've got a big bag, a bug out bag with all our first aid equipment in, etc., and warm clothing.
I haven't even got a box of biscuits. I've got absolutely not one thing.
Just hope you've got good neighbours then.
I think they'd probably chop me up and eat me, put me on the barbecue or something like that. I mean, I really had not been thinking about this until, of course, yesterday, where Spain and Portugal were virtually paralysed, weren't they? The bit of footage that they kept showing where they were suddenly plunged into darkness was really an incredibly dramatic thing to behold. I mean, they weren't in danger, but nobody knew when it was going to be up and running again.
And it's just when you don't expect it. I think it's great to be able to just think, OK, I mean, there's great books you can get and sort of, about bug out sort of stuff. You could use it as a bit of a hobby, really, because you never know. And rather expect the unexpected.
But are you thinking of God forbid, nuclear war? Or are you thinking of what happened in Spain?
No, for me, it's more war. I was thinking of things like war, and since lockdown as well, I've been thinking about that. Obviously, a lot. But I don't want to panic anyone. It's just that I think it's good to be prepared. But going back to Spain, I mean, they literally, it was within a second, and there were trains stuck underground. There were trains in the middle of the countryside. They had no supplies, and so I think it's really good just to be moderately prepared for the worst.
Gosh, all right, let's...
And also the not so worst, like a blackout or something, you know, or maybe the lights.
Just matches as well, not a light and matches.
Obviously, we were children of the 70s, so we remember the, you know, the power cuts. I remember the Calagas rings and the paraffin heaters and the, you know, your mum sort of cooking the baked beans because that was all you could heat up on the little Calagas ring and all that kind of thing, and not being able to do your homework because it was too dark to see, which you loved and all of that. But you've sort of carried that over with you.
And I think a lot of it did happen during lockdown, didn't it? Where people were starting to store up on things, and you know, you're starting to realise that you might have to fend for yourself, and you just realise how dependent you are on gadgets and just, you know, just.
And how much we just expect it all to be there.
To be there like that.
Just like that. How we are so spoiled about having everything now, and actually that's not always.
And our convenience.
The cyber attack on M&S the other day has also meant that people went into M&S and there was barely anything to buy on the shelves because of it. All right, and also the cashback and the cash cards, and none of it would work. Let's go to Emma in Portsmouth about this. Hi, Emma. How do you feel? Are you prepared for the worst?
Good morning, Vanessa. And can I just say how beautiful and radiant you look this day?
Yes, you may. How lovely of you. That is incredibly kind. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much.
Aww.
But tell me about being prepared.
And I must say, Jenny, you look lovely too.
She
very
looks gorgeous,
leggy.
doesn't she? I agree. She does. What about Cristo? He doesn't look too good to you? He looks all right.
He looks all right.
He's got menopause, so he's not feeling that great at the moment, but he's trying.
That's the best I'm going to get, isn't it? I look all right. I'll take that.
Emma, tell us if you're prepared for the worst or not.
Do you know, Vanessa, I think it's so selfish that people stockpile.
Right.
I really do. And you know what? You know, during the COVID, and everyone was so selfish, and I saw people with trolleys full of stuff they'll never use, Vanessa, dried peas, good Lord, you know. And I just thought it was really sad. And there's food banks that really need that, Vanessa, and it's just so selfish and dreadful.
I mean, having said that, though, Emma, were you watching telly or listening to the radio yesterday about what went on in Spain and Portugal? Because it was quite a big deal. Suddenly, bam, they were in darkness, phones went dead, you know, all media went dead, you couldn't get anything out the shops, you couldn't get any cash out the machines, you couldn't use your credit cards, you couldn't buy anything. It was suddenly a bit of a thing. You know, it looked like a film, quite frankly. It looked so dramatic. Admittedly, it's not going to last very long, but if it happened here, would you feel as if you were prepared for it?
Personally, probably not. But then again, I'm never prepared for anything. I'll be late to my own funeral, Vanessa, frankly. But to be honest, Vanessa, I just thought, you know, if it happens here, it happens here. But we can't live in fear, can we? All the time.
Cristo?
It's you know, we have to, you know, Anne Widdecombe, you know, adopt that sort of thing, you know. Socks up, belt and braces, we can do this.
Emma,
we're not a weak nation.
Emma, don't you think, though, the fact that people like Jenny and I prepare means that there won't be that rush? If more people did what we did...
I think you're talking about the stockpiling.
There wouldn't be that stockpiling panic when something goes wrong, which leads to the behaviour you don't like.
The beans are in.
Well, sweetheart, I do agree, but at the same time... I've been muzzled, sorry.
But
no. The thing is, though, I would say I'd have to say is no, because people won't do that. And as we saw with COVID, and I'm sure you all did, people got so selfish.
Oh, it was a toilet roll, wasn't it?
Toilet roll that really did it, wasn't it? Yeah. Absolutely, you're right. I mean, there's a kind of panic feeling that sets in, isn't there? It's kind of like every man for himself. You know, what if this happens to us? How would we survive? How long would we survive? Would our neighbours help us? Probably not. Do we even know our neighbours? Lots of parts of this country we don't know our neighbours at all. We've got no idea who the people are who live closest to us, and loads of us living far from friends and family. So it's a thing that does panic people. Emma, thank you so much, and thank you for your calls on this one.